away, take it away, feeling too good to me. Chilling all day, all in your space is where I wanna be. Here in this room.
The sun is shining, there's a bit of a breeze. It's a perfect day for speed Frisbee.
We have two European standouts here.
We are moments away from the opening pull now.
Deep breaths before the madness begins.
Greatest attempt! Oh my goodness, layout to keep it alive! My brains are melting out of my ears! What is going on out there?
Women's Division champions!
Gold medal winners here on the beach. European Beach Ultimate Club champions.
Thank you and enjoy the show.
We are in the metaphorical dusk of this tournament. The sun is slowly beginning to set on the horizon. We are in semi-final action for the women's division here at EBUCC in Gdańsk, Poland. I am Gigi Morrison, joined by Steph Pazzo. Are you excited for this game? I know I'm excited. How are you feeling?
Boy, am I ever. This game has all the makings of a cracker. JinX Midnight. The Sharks of Barcelona unscathed, both of them, throughout this tournament. And they now clash in this semi-final for a chance to play and feature tomorrow in the big match. A sand team regularly with the Sharks and a grass team that are bringing the stars to the sand, so they should match up well, Gigi. We're into this one.
JinX starting out on offense in light. Defense taking their time to get themselves set, but JinX also wanting to do a pull play. Walczak on the disc, massive fakes. Boshes the force out of the way, no problem whatsoever. Defender on the underneath, but Prien confidently receives. Back to Walczak. It feels like the stadium is almost silent with the pressure of this game. Givic sits low in the flick. Prien tries to grab it early, but that floats over top.
There's a Neek in the corner there, just rises above her hands there. The throw from Givic, well measured it seemed. She waited, leaned into it, but wind popped it up, and the Sharks will get a break chance on the very first point of the game.
Just wiping some residual sand off the inside edge of the disc. San Marco strides up to the end zone line. No movement as of yet. It's a brief discussion possibly about a travel. Everyone getting themselves set back into position.
Speaking of, it's interesting to see the German defense upfield. JinX are definitely surrounding here, 2 under, and Prien taking care of the deep space. They have some assignment to player, but really taking away space surrounding, flexing, as Felix would be happy to hear.
Check back in, front end zone line. Does find an option, but just off the receiver's hands. Benedicto having to go to sand. Wipes herself off. Now JinX have the short field. Givic fakes the inside. Finds Anik. Anik pivots, looking for something downfield. Tries to find the dump. Givic again going to knees. The Sharks defense applying immense pressure. Walczak almost misread that. Changed direction quickly and had to scoop from behind, giving JinX their first dirty hold.
And, I saw Levka Walczak boxing out there. I knew exactly what she was up to, and I was like, uh-oh, she's let it go too far. She's focused a bit too much on the body, lost sight of the disc, but it's Levka Walczak. She knew what she was doing. She still gave herself just enough time to make a spectacular layout. She uses her diminutive form perfectly there, uses her strength to keep the body away, waits till the very last minute, and springs off the feet to make a trailing edge layout and collects the game's first goal.
Walchuk has a certain level of athleticism that is admirable in so many ways, and to mark against is extremely difficult. You never know what to expect. So most circumstances where if you were in that position having to bounce back on your disc, most people wouldn't have been able to make it. But of course, it's Livka. But Sharks now first look at the O-line, quickly getting moving. Kobos. Finds Andrade at the back. Dish through the middle, some really beautiful movement, so fluid. Andrade over to Kobos. Not liking the options, but finds Perez. Andrade going high. Phenomenal up the line cut, saw the availability and took it on. Taking what you're given, bid on the front line, double bids if anything. Perez collects for Sharks. That's now a clean hold.
Clean hold, Perez, Garnier, love that matchup. Two of the best in the game. Both hitting horizontal, fighting for that corner. I like what Sharks did there. They were very tidy. Kobos and Andrade from the back. A lot of speed upfield with Mas and Perez. A very tidy, clean hold for them. A good way to kick off this game. Certainly giving up the game's first possession on the flip. They're going to have to play, JinX will dictate the pace of this, so they got to keep up. And both these teams will be looking for the first break, of course. But I feel like the pressure's always on the team that starts the game on defense, and in this case, that is the Sharks.
Escalona with the pull. Gievich receives. Persianen in the middle, almost double marked. And then slashes up the line. Prien comes in the underspace. Prien sees Walchuk go, takes it on. That's the connection that we've seen time and time again, but this one didn't quite work out.
Yeah, they're not going to be shy to throw to one another. I mean, as we said last game as well, JinX are a very good hucking team. They got big throws across the board. Those two in particularly like to throw to one another, but this time not as perfectly measured as they'd hoped. And the Sharks will have a break chance.
We saw in JinX's game earlier on today the connection between Prien and Walchuk. They got the vast majority of stats with just the two of them together, which is pretty wild. The Sharks now with a break opportunity. Beautiful find up the line. Escalona wants to dump off. Massive cut underneath Karma. Escalona dishes off to Benedicto, receives again. Beautiful patience around the back here. Prada, oh, confident reception. Two hands on that. Benedicto thought that might have been for somebody else. Prien just makes sure that that is down.
Yeah, that's one that's safe enough where nobody will bark at you for not catching your Ds. It was at ankle length there. She smacked it away. Nobody in the vicinity. But the overthrow over top of Benedicto, the disappointment there, and JinX will start from their own end.
And Andik stuck in this corner, choosing to send it, does have time. Beautiful touch on that flick, gives Prien plenty of an opportunity to get there. Oh, relief from JinX. That is definitely something to behold. Persianen for JinX.
Nikki Prien is elite. Her ability to slow things down after the catch, waited for Persianen to get upfield, threw the dart just as she crossed the line. Yeah, again, elite throwing. Normally you think of Prien, you think of her athleticism most, but as a veteran player now, she's got all the throws, and her deployment and decision-making is really what sets her apart in that elite level. What a throw, Nikki Prien.
We've certainly been looking forward to this matchup all tournament long, but particularly feeling the buzz of it coming in.
And I did say unscathed, but the Sharks did lose one to E6 on a universe point. They've had a bunch of tight games here. E6 now eliminated that by Seagulls, who are playing in the other semi.
Andrade. Over to Mas. Receives again. The quick dish passes. This is Shark's style of ultimate, is get the disc moving as fast as possible, find that open person in the center and use them. Really difficult to slow down. Cobos to Perez. Perez rises over the top, barely has to leave the sand, but instead sinks down into it.
Yeah, Perez is going to be a problem for JinX. I mean, for any opposition. Perez and Mas upfield. I mean, those two are seemingly best of friends. They were co-tournament directors down at Copatanga, but co-destroyers of any defense they play against. They both have similar game. They're tall, they're fast, they're athletic. They really stretch the upfield while they can still maintain the Spanish-style game, the tiki-taka, and the backfield use it. And they're because they can stretch the field, it really adds such a threat to the Sharks' offensive attack.
Yeah, Aina Perez, having played for 14 years now.
How old is she?
27, so started playing at the age of 13 by my maths.
Well, that's good maths. I know. A tournament director and psychologist when she's not doing Frisbee work.
I feel like psychologists are going to be very good tournament directors.
Yeah.
Just naturally.
And good competitors, you would too.
And they're proving so on the sand here. Baltic has eyes for Plian. Takes a safer dump option. And Anik. Porcianen. Gievich. Priyan has to leave the sand. Anticipated that, already powering her body across for the horizontal bid and successful reception.
Benedicta did a good job, but I think Nikki Priyan was open for 2 or 3 throws in a row there. It could have gone to her a little earlier. JinX were smart in moving it up and making a shorter, surer pass before it went to her. Gievich, when it was her turn, she saw that inside lane, threw it where the defense could never get, and just made Nikki do a little flop to ensure it.
Yeah, I certainly respect the choice to not necessarily look to Plian immediately, even if she was open. But that also is credit to the Sharks' defense. They're getting into JinX's head, certainly. If they're wanting to... If Sharks are able to shut down JinX's decision points of looking for one of their top players, that's something to be said. Something to be said is that pull. Phenomenal stuff. But also well fielded. Andrade in the middle of the pitch. Nava. Andrade completely open on this side here. Beautiful flick of the backhand. And Andrade going every other at this point. Really just utilizing whatever space they can, but the quick pass goes away from their body.
Yeah, Julia Mas there couldn't keep it measured. I loved what ULTI.TV's own Luna Andrade was doing there, dictating the pace, really working the give and go up the line, and a very unfortunate turn that will give JinX a break chance.
Lewandowska finds Gerner. Her. Dishes back to Müller. And her slashes across the center. Lewandowska does provide the cuts. The force is really standing off here. The trust throw to Gerner in the back corner, towed in. However, Perez is calling it out.
I can understand the wonder. I did think one foot was in first. I'm going to want to see this again on the screen. They're giving it. It was close enough to look again. We're going to get a look anyhow, but it counts.
I certainly
I thought
agree.
she had the 1 foot still in the air and the back foot down, but I mean, they ended up straddled a short moment later, and I do think it was later, and that does say I do believe it was in, but it was very close. Here it is.
Beautiful ripper of a backhand. It does just catch the wrong edge of the wind.
We got finied by Prada. Please respect the 3-meter line.
Different angle here. Gerner concentrating. Yeah, that appears to be
Yeah, it does
in.
look like it was in.
We got a nod and a smile from Gerner on the way past.
She was still a bit curious. It was very close. But we'll give it to her, as they gave it to her. Oh, that's a cold breeze.
Yeah, I was going to say, that is a change of wind direction. The flags are moving in a completely different direction now. And it's colder.
Wow. That changed things dramatically.
We have this sense of anxiety here because of the storm front that rolled in yesterday.
Because of yesterday.
And we've been waiting for one today. It's great. Mas. Casual dish over the top of the platter. Enjoying the visor going on. Kobot. Didn't like the look from Andrade. Woo! Oh my goodness. Julia Mas. Phenomenal bid. Saves the offense there for Sharks. A clean hold.
Quiero más. Julia sends herself flying. That was a quick reaction layout. She really had zero time to react and managed to react in zero time. Here it is again. Kobos looked to be trapped there. Andrade got covered up by Priyan in the backfield. When she turned upfield, boom. Mas leaves the feet. Shows what the CrossFit training does for her. And so with these winds of change, that last break may be even more telling by the end of this game. If these winds continue to push left to right, as you'll see when we see the stadium shot, the flags are now, we've talked about swirling winds all day. They are left to right now, very much so. And so, yes, Sharks held after, but every team will get this holding opportunity. Upwinders will seemingly be much more difficult from here on out, unless we get another weather change.
JinX team didn't seem to find the downwind a problem whatsoever. Just making quick work of that Bandmüller for the score. And personally, when I was on comms with Smurf yesterday, we were talking about the upwind, downwind, crosswind debate. I personally prefer playing upwind, as did Smurf. Would you prefer playing downwind on the beach more specifically?
I mean, to most degrees, yes. I think upwind, okay. As soon as we're at this level or more, there's no way I would prefer to play upwind. I think anything less than this, sure. I guess I like it. It'll float my throws a little bit more. But I think once you get to this stage, flag fluttering upwind, you still have to adapt both for your upwind and downwind throw. But I think it's a much tougher adaptation going upwind, even as an elite thrower. I think, me personally, yes, I'd be preferring to go downwind right now.
That is understandable. The Sharks now have the downwind in their favor. Mas. Perez was striking across, didn't like the option. Andrade goes to sand, successful collection.
Luna.
Mas. Over to Perez. Walczak bids from behind, tries to apply some pressure. Prada is wide open in the end zone. Are they going to be able to receive it? Yes! Oh, just the ground strip.
Oh, that looked like it was all done. I was so surprised to look back and see the disc not in hand. It was a great throw, I thought, by Perez getting up after Walczak bid on her hip. Looked, just about perfectly weighted. There it is again, the layout. Oh, yeah, yes. Oh, those ones hurt.
Yeah, you've done all of the work. You've put every ounce of effort you possibly can do into your gameplay, into your bid, and then you're suddenly taken away by the universe. The universe just says no. JinX with another break opportunity. That is Blady, but Walczak reads it perfectly. Has Priyan deep, takes it on. That sits wonderfully. Over the top rises. Immediate spike in celebration. My word.
That's an elite defender. She just skied, and I love Priyan's reaction. She put it down. No look to the defense. No too short talk. I hate that kind of reaction. But elite defender Mas did a really good job to close down on the positioning, make it very difficult. But Nikki Priyan high pointed it perfectly, took it high. Here it is again.
The snap of the wrist from Walczak from that throw, just immediate, sat into the right leg, pull through with the hips, with the core, and then snap through the wrist. Incredible stuff.
Beautiful stuff. Beautiful.
So now a 3-point separation here. We're just over a third of the way through the game. Games here are 45 minutes long with a 13-point cap. So half will be at 7. So if JinX are able to get this break, they will take the half. Here's 7-3. But I don't think Sharks are going to let that happen quite so easily. That pull almost didn't come back into the pitch, but I think to JinX's delight, that landed on the line. It looked like it landed on the line. I might have had the incorrect perspective because they're taking it really far down the pitch.
Oh, yeah. I mean, line is out.
This is true. This is true. I'm wrong either way, let's just say
that. And they are going to get great field position. I think it would be great if you hit that like button, too, before the Sharks take off here.
San Marco with the chill pop over the top to Perez. Mas, just outside the end zone. Sinks low again to Perez. That's going to mean a lot for Sharks at this point. Really trying to claw their way back, get closer. They're not too far away, but there's still some separation.
Now, the 2 breaks in there really hurt. You're right. They've been playing well. They've been moving the disc reasonably well on most possessions. Their turnovers have not been at all classified as careless. They're, you know, a couple bids, a couple takeaways, but they're right there in this. Like, this still feels like a fight. They needed that one, so the scoreboard still reflects as though the fight is on here. At 6-4, they bring it to within 2. Now JinX will get a chance to receive and take half. No better time for the Sharks to find a way to break. And big shout out to everybody watching, a whole bunch of you now. Those of you in the chats, desde Delenia, hola, the Latino area. We're so happy to see you there. We got some JinX fans, Maya Kozak, Castro, loving the Sharks. It's all happening here. Make sure you hit that like button, be subscribed, and keep watching.
The pull lands at around about Anik's ankles. Disrespect to Priyan, and then Priyan to Valchuk. Low disc, but Anik is confident in that reception. Almost went for the flick inside shot. Givic surveying her options. Beautiful throw. My goodness. And almost trying to reflect it. Valchuk wanted to go for the redemption grab, but it was already in the sand before she left it too.
Yeah, great bid by Valchuk. But it was never going to be caught, I don't think. I love to see that she's leaving everything out there. But that one too low. And here is a glorious chance. What can the Sharks do with it?
Before I could even gather my thoughts as to who's got the disc, they've moved a third of the pitch down. Benedicto looking for Kama, but there wasn't a cut provided. That was just a throw and hope option.
I think, I don't know if she had just stopped by the time she wound up, or if that was just a, I'm running out of options and I got to put it downfield. But I think there was a miscommunication. I think she was moving and came to a stop amidst the windup, and Benedicto ended up throwing to no moving targets.
I certainly agree. Givic responding in turn. Priyan has time. And awaiting in the chest. Valchuk has 2 receivers in the end zone. But is beginning to run out of stall count, so dishes back to Anik. Again, the inside backhand. My goodness. This is like an absolute classroom for break throws here. From both sides, we're seeing just beautiful shots. It's, makes me feel really happy.
Yeah, it's that's just good looking response there. After a miscue by Sharks attacking the end zone, a whole field to look at. Priyan busts down the field. And then from there, I mean, they had options. You know, Givic looks to Valchuk, or looks to Priyan at one stage, and Valchuk's wide open next to her. They're just options. Givic in the end finds Priyan on the continuation. And that line is really cooking out there. I mean, the JinX is cooking, but that line in particular, I feel like, has got a lot of swag right now. They are really feeling themselves. They take half. It's 7-4 for JinX. And they are making the Sharks sweat in these chilly conditions. And did that one touch tape first or sand first?
I think that touched sand first, but again, I was wrong earlier on, so I can be wrong again. Andrade on one of the more dangerous corners of this pitch. Easy work for them. Tries to pivot through. There seems to be an accepted foul, accepted strip call. Andrade wide open. And receives, looking downfield, kind of signaling, where are my cutters? I need you. Lewandowska poaching in the lane. Garnier going for the bid just to make sure.
I didn't need it, but we needed that. Everybody at home needed that. Garnier checking the body around with reckless abandon, which she does well.
This wind is certainly picking up, so even that backhand shot itself was difficult to execute. Lewandowska pinned on the sideline, finds Müller. Swings across to Garnier. Big pivots, faking the force out the way. Pichagina. Open side under, but a simple drop on the sideline there. You can see the frustration on their face.
A tough spot in the end zone there. That earlier on, there was the ground strip on the layout for Sharks. Now Huar can't hang on to that one. But the Sharks would love to be able to capitalize here. It is getting cold now, Gigi.
Yeah, we both put our jackets on.
Really blowing. And every 2 minutes it gets stronger wind and colder wind.
Stronger so much so that people are having to readjust their throwing as another turnover is generated. Lewandowska sits low. Ooh, that was the confidence behind that flick. I love it.
Yeah, Lewandowska just fired a rocket across the field there. And JinX are feeling it. A break there after half. 8-4 lead now. And the Sharks are going to at least get the advantage of going downwind. And you'll see these flags fluttering more and more now than they have all game. That poor touch flag went down yesterday's storm and is taking the brunt of this again. But conditions are certainly against the offense right now. There you have a look at it. And now it's coming a little bit, cross field again. It is left to right on your screen, but it's pushing, you can see the difference. In fact, from the left side of the field to the right side of the field. On the right side, it is pushing left to right. On the left side of the field, it is pushing from the sea towards us. That's quite incredible looking at those flags like that and seeing the difference, how the wind's hitting.
It's really quite difficult to predict where the wind is going to go. That pole soars, lands at about the halfway mark. It's gifted Sharks an opportunity here for their O-line. Prada. Benedito. Fakes the inside. Quick switch from the defense. But San Marco gets the under. Woo! Pera is under pressure from Rien. Mas didn't like where San Marco was positioned, or the force was applying a lot of pressure. Pera is having to go to Sand, defended by Prien. No call, that was clean.
Great play by Prien. I think Mas was spinning around in circles, high stall count. Had few options. There was a tiny window to get it to Perez, but that window closed quick when Nikki Prien is the defender in between.
I'm just looking at the other semi-final going on at the moment.
How's
Troubles versus Seagulls. Troubles are up 10-2 against Seagulls.
No trouble at all.
Floating Prada in the space, takes that on, just make sure it's gone. Valchuk was almost sandwiched in between Benedito and Prada. So lots of exciting action going on today. This is currently the women's semi-final, of course, but we'll be covering the other semi-finals today with the finals going on tomorrow. Mas. Finds Perez. Wanted to look for Prada, but I think a slight hesitation in the throw in combination with this gust of wind coming through made that sink a lot faster than anticipated.
Yeah, you see a bit of frustration in Perez's body language, but this wind is just wreaking havoc. I mean, sure, she's allowed to be not totally satisfied, but there's a lot of justification right now.
And a fast turn. Mas at about the brick mark. San Marco. Perez coming slightly under, but the buzz switch from Walczak shut that off. Mas has Prada slicing up the line. Finally closing off that point. 8-5.
That's kind of how you got to do it. Chuck it right in the guts, and with this kind of wind, no float, no touch. Get rid of all notions of that kind of throwing. Fire things into people's bodies and hope that they can hang on, as they did in the corner there. Mas just push hard, and you see everybody just charging down into that corner in near collision. That's what the elements are doing to this game right now. It is. We've mentioned it a few times, but I'm going to continue to mention it because the start of this game, things were peachy. And it like that first gust, it was like, goodness gracious, this wind is real, and it's real cold, and it has just picked up slowly and surely to this very moment. It's
chilly.
Unpleasant at this moment.
It's chilly. We're wearing shorts, we were wearing t-shirts or tanks beforehand. We're bundling up here in the booth now, but it's keeping us on our toes. Müller. Garnier is open on this sideline, being forced under, trying to shut down that deep option. Garnier sinks, finds Lewandowska. That disc going a little too low, but not a problem. Her chest to sand. Her has two cuts coming under from Bahnmüller and Garnier. The inside throw to Lewandowska, leaving Bahnmüller wide open on the break side. Oh, I could feel everyone holding their breath during that point still. The wind playing its part.
You know what I liked there was the Malena Müller throw late, high stall count. She was trying to isolate Garnier, couldn't get a break around, turned upfield here. Yeah, that's the throw she couldn't get it, but fired it right into Lewandowska, and then made for one of the easier throws in that corner with all the wind at her back. That's one of the few throws that you could put a little tiny bit of touch on and not try and cut the recipient in half.
Lewandowska collecting her second assist for this game.
9-5. What a way to make a living.
I think that's maybe the fourth game I've commentated with you now this weekend that you said that.
Well, I've got way more than 4 times have I used that one.
Beautiful. Love to know it. Perez. Centers. To Nava. Oh,
wow.
Spicy around backhand.
But
ignoring whatever wind whatsoever. And yes, snagged out the air. Andrade. Beautiful throw to Perez. Nava. Not much going on downfield other than Perez. Another time the backhand just sinks into the sand. Walczak sees Prien in the end zone.
And she gives a little hand heart back to Walczak, but it's just the immediacy of Prien knowing exactly what her job is. As soon as the turnover happened, she got up and was hammering deep, full speed against Perez, who's getting up off the ground after the layout. But that little bit of separation was too much for even Perez to be able to catch up. You see her just show some exasperation, but Prien is fast, and if she's going to get a head start just by virtue of having to stand up, and you get a thrower like Volchak, life's going to be tough because they're too good.
And hopefully they can see those examples and reassess. There is now a 5-point margin here in the women's semi-final. JinX 10, Sharks 5. Just as these teams take a break, we will also take a break too. We'll see you after these messages. We are back here with the women's semi-final. Big shout out to whoever called that timeout. Steph and I are thankful because it allowed us to put some layers on.
Oh yeah.
Andrade Fields to Cobos. Perez back to Andrade. The same quick disc movement that we've seen from Sharks. Mas to Perez. Mas goes directly up the line. Perez dishes over the top to Andrade. Oh. Garnier wanting to put pressure underneath but doesn't. Andrade just making sure that Garnier's okay. Mas. Andrade. A little bit stagnant. Mas finds the cut. Really pinned onto this end zone line. Both handlers going up the line instead. Andrade with a massive fake. Cobos wide open in the front corner. Beautiful stuff.
Luna Andrade making plays there. Garnier draped over for one of them. Couldn't get up and over. Waiting for Cobos to make a move in the corner. She did, and Andrade throws the strike. We love Garnier's game there too. You know, like even on a missed attempt, gets up with like a big beaming smile on her face. She's really just, you see the joy of playing this game on her face when you watch Anna play. Gives it her all, and you know, sometimes you win some, you lose some. She's winning some, but even if she loses a small moment at a time, still see the happiness in being able to play.
But also massive respect. Luna Andrade just turned around whilst they picked up, well, whilst they retained possession of the disc to check that Garnier was actually okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Like most people wouldn't do that.
Yeah, Luna's all class. All class. Luna Andrade. We claim her as ULTI.TV's own. We love her. She's a big part of our team. There's a lot of, you know, works on site on events, but a lot of our editing and so much. And she deserves shout outs for that stuff, but for today as a player.
In the deep space, having to read. Persiainen was in the space as well, but Kama got the D for Sharks. A break opportunity here. This could be their first break. San Marco has Parada. Looking at a lot of defenders shutting down options. But Escalona swings across to Benedicto. Benedicto fighting Kama. Back to Escalona. Prada under pressure from Valchak. Valchak will constantly apply that pressure on D.
A human missile Livka Valchak right now on defense. Just even if a sniff of a chance, she's going.
The quick pickup. Valchak and Plian getting things moving. Givic thought about the bid, but just out of reach, knowing that even if she did bid, probably would have been unlikely that she would have gotten there.
And another big gust of wind.
It's a beautiful throw. Not quite enough touch. I think a little bit more touch on it in these conditions at least would have allowed Givic an extra second to get there. San Marco pinned into the corner. High floaty disc right over the top of Kama. Balchuk picks up quickly again. Portianen. Klien stumbles, fumbles and falls. Benedicto takes on the under pressure. No call. There initially was going to be a foul call, but it's been retracted. Balchuk immediately turns, looks to Prien. That was a much better throw. Smiles all around. Only 2 points away now as we close into the last few minutes of this game.
Yeah, tough one there, the foul call and class to retract, but even in that moment, you still see no hesitation. Nikki Prien turns upfield, puts on the jets. Again, a tough person to run next to, even if you are starting at the same time. But in the time of that, I don't know if it's foul, I retract. A second later, she looks up and Prien's clear, 2 meters behind both defenders, and gives a chance for Volchak to open up the backhand. She does that so well, and JinX are looking stronger the longer this game goes.
And that pull is an absolute zipper. Not even a consideration of landing in bounds. Andrade choosing to call the brick.
That was Nikki Prien's 5th goal in this game. And an assist and 2 blocks for good measure.
So Nikki Prien's been involved in 7 out of the 11 JinX scores, basically, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Mas. Looking for Andrade, has eyes for them, but the force is getting pretty in their face. Mas with a little bit of panic uncorks the backhand. There are lots of players underneath, but Perez is the one who reads it properly. The sit into that flick, it floats, but my word, that was phenomenal stuff. I love that throw.
Yeah, Kolomer did a really good job to finish that one off. Lewandowska was an elite defender, was circling around there, ready to play shark herself to try and get that D, but well held that ground by Kolomer. Went up at the right moment, and we'll get our series of replays here, but this, the finishing touch. Perez hangs it up, and Kolomer really does a good job to hold her ground and haul in another point. Here's another one for you, Gigi. 7-11. It's time for Slurpee. There's not many score lines I don't have something for.
I don't really know how to respond to that. So I'm going to not.
Deal. I'll try to not pay attention to the score.
That's not part of your job.
Oh wait, that is part of my job.
Givic fields to Valchuk. Valchuk with a low backhand. Prien again thought about the bid, realizing it was quite far. It would have to be a lot of effort, maybe in the wrong stride.
I was, you see people talking in the chats now about Prien. It mentions intratable, it's Spanish, and I can't, but it sounds like incredible, unguardable, perhaps. I don't know. Correct me in the chats, but Prien, she's just been really, again, go back and watch EBUCC from 2018, the tournament-winning catch. Go check it out.
The awareness from Agnes to look over the shoulder at the right time, the quick twist and turn after that throw from Prada. Goodness me. That's their first break of the game. They're now only within 3.
Hey, we're getting excited about Priyan. We're talking about last time's tournament winner. We're assuming the win here a little bit.
You're assuming the win.
I may be. And Sharks are saying, hey, we're still in this one. 2 teams on this field. We're still hitting it out here. And love to see that back the other way.
You're 100%.
That's great cutting. That is great upfield cutting. That throw. I love that too. The offhand guiding the cut. Now give me something a little further in the middle. Sets up the around backhand. And yeah, great response there. Great break for the Sharks. You know, maybe JinX are seeing the finish line as they've made me do. And Sharks take their first break. They're going to need a lot more where that came from. But there's only one way to start.
Müller had Müller coming under, but instead looks for Lewandowski and the quick dish. The error, the lapse of judgment.
Okay. It's a short field. This is an opportunity.
Trevino calling for calm. Picks up the disc, allows for Sharks to set up, but instead the bid comes through. There is an immediate foul call.
Sounds like it's almost a strip call, I believe. Trying to say she had it in her hands.
Getting some insight from Lewandowska, who's nearby the play. It's quite difficult to see from that shot. Both players moving at absolute pace. So it's a contested foul. So disc is going to go back into the hands of the initial thrower.
So Troubles have been playing in the other semifinal. Spoiler alert, they have advanced. This one nears the pointy end.
Pretty handedly at that too.
Yeah, 13-3 over the Seagulls from Hamburg.
And you can keep track of all of the live scores happening across the tournament through the EBUCC live website. You can see past results and current results and future games that will happen later on. Phenomenal grab from Matteo. Trevino fakes with the hand that doesn't have the disc in it.
I like that.
Matteo. Appears to be a pick call.
It's not the pick signal, but I thought I heard the word injury there. But I've been deceived by either my eyes or my ears.
Unsure what's happening. There's a distinct lack of hand signals going on. But this stays in the hands of Matteo. Has Trevino in the back, but Lewandowski dishes the hand through instead. So JinX, 2 points away. Here, across to Garnier. They're making quick work of this downwind offense. Lewandowski around for Müller. JinX now within 1. 4 points separating. Can Sharks claw their way back in?
We talked about how big of a task that was 1 point prior. Even bigger of a task now. No time cap. We're playing to 13. So, again, 1 hold for JinX. And I guess it would come from a break if they were to do it on the very next point. Alternatively, it would be a hold for the Sharks to make it 9. And then 4 breaks in a row.
Oof.
They've only managed 1 all game long. So the prospects are grim. It would take a miraculous sequence of events here. Have we seen miraculous sequence of events in this sport on these stages? Most certainly we have. Is it a regularity or something we're very used to seeing? Not quite.
But they're the kind of games where you tell tales of them to your future children, or at least your friends' children. I went to this Frisbee tournament once and this team absolutely blitzed through at the end and it was phenomenal. Colomer. And Andrade on the sideline. That's hesitating. Oh, the lapse of judgment. I can feel the gasp from Steph. Baltic picks up without hesitation. Givets takes the final shot to Anik in the end zone. JinX are going to progress further to the final of the women's division at EBUCC.
What a game by JinX. They showed their class, I think, from the beginning of this tournament when we all saw this roster. They were circled to be the favorites to be able to advance. This morning, we saw a heck of a clash between Troubles and JinX and said, wow, there's a very good chance this could be a prelude to the final. That is now the case. We are going to see the rematch. We got a great game this morning. We had a great game here. Sharks, you got to give it to them. They did not back down. They stayed in this right to the very end. Their first break of the game, that was their last goal of the game. Loved their class. They are a sand team. They are a team. Spanish teams, both on sand and grass, are on the up and up. They keep building and getting better year after year. And I think this being one of their finest performances yet, there's a lot of positive they should be taking from this as we have a look at the match stats there. What jumps out? I mean, 5 for 8 is really the difference. You know, that is exceptional conversion rate for JinX. They both had the same amount of break chances, and to get 5 versus 1, there's the difference there. Your percentage of your D-line, okay, defensive unit, whoever's on the field at the time of the break chance, to be able to convert. And again, that goes to JinX's roster from top to bottom. We talked about it before. So many of them can huck. So many of them have big game experience, and it paid its dividends here today.
It certainly did, Steph. And what an absolute scorcher of a semi-final. JinX moving on, progressing to the final itself. They were absolute powerhouses throughout this entire game. Even when there was the switch of conditions, we started off with a fairly calm, gentle breeze that barely existed. And this connection between Baltic and Plian is proving to be an absolute menace, and it will continue to be a menace as we go through the final parts of this tournament. What a game. Commiserations, Sharks, go win that bronze medal.
Yeah, that'll be a big game tomorrow in the morning against the Seagulls of Hamburg. But we're going to move ourselves on as we watch these replays here, some of the finer moments of the game. But up next, mixed division, semi. No, this is a quarter final. We're going to get the semi at the end of the day. And this is a big clash here. UFA taking on Ukraine. Both these teams have been red hot throughout the tournament. So that's coming up next, and we are excited, as you must be too.
Thank you very much for oh my goodness. Thank you very much everyone for tuning in. I've been Gigi Morrison for Steph Rapazzo. Thank you very much. Have a good rest of your day and enjoy the rest of the coverage. See you soon.
Thank you. Thanks.
ULTI.TV.